Hello and welcome to this episode of Peak Life. Today we're talking about something that you have probably seen as you're driving around town, flashing yellow arrows. Yes, that is something we're gonna have a whole entire conversation about. Who'd have thunk all this fun traffic engineering stuff. Ashely Marriner with the Public Works Department and Traffic Engineering Division. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So flashing yellow arrows, these are sort of new. Like we've had some in the city for several years, but we really have a lot of them now. Why do we care? What's the difference? Why are we transitioning to these?
We prefer these over the regular 5-section, which is the permissive ball, because the drivers are more, they can understand these better. And they also protect the drivers more and the pedestrians at the intersection.
Oh, pedestrians too. Okay.
Yes.
So, and I know, we've talked so much about how drivers, they kind of react on reflex, so you see green, you think go, and you see red, you think stop. That's all well and good, but the old turn arrows used to be green, but you still had to be careful about oncoming traffic. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that was a part of kind of the safety issue?
Yes.
So how does this work? If I'm a driver and I come up to an intersection with this, what do I do?
For these, if you were to approach it and you had the green arrow, you would have the right of way, but
Okay.
also with these, they'll go to the yellow and then they will go to a full red and wait, and they'll delay so that you have a chance, or the oncoming traffic will have a chance to get to drive before you get the flashing yellow.
Okay.
So you don't proceed in front of them like a lot of people do when they see the green ball instead of
Yes.
the flashing yellow. And then
So-
they will continue to flash until it's red again.
Okay, I have noticed that. So there is that transition period where it goes from green to yellow to red. And so it's a different yellow because it goes from yellow to red, right? It's not like a flashing yellow.
Yes, ma'am.
So that solid yellow, that still means the traditional hold up, pause, get ready to stop.
Yes.
Interesting. How did you guys fund this? I know a lot of these signal heads were replaced even just over the past summer, right? I hear you guys were working pretty much every weekend to get this replaced.
Yes. So we went through VDOT and the CMAQ funding to, it's a grant that we can receive for safety initiatives for the state of Virginia. And we've used that to fund all of our replacements and retrofitting for all these flashing yellow arrows throughout the years since 2019.
Wow. We always love that quote unquote free money,
Yes.
make the state pay for it. That's
Yes.
great. What's the process for installing these? Like, did you have to close down entire intersections to get these installed?
Yes, we would have to go out and have a contractor take the old 5-section down while the signal shop and a signal inspector would work in the cabinet to reprogram the controllers or replace the cabinet at the same time. So the intersections would go completely black while we were operating, and the police would be out there to direct traffic.
Okay.
And then some of them could take a few hours to finish per intersection. So we would do about 3 a day.
Wow.
Yes.
What's the feedback been? Do you feel like people are starting to understand what they have to do? What have you heard?
I've had negatives and positives.
Okay.
So some are not fond of the flashing yellows, and I believe that's because they're not quite understanding what it's there for.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will approach them and they will not be flashing, and that's because we have pedestrian protection, and that's why we prefer these over the 5-section.
Oh.
So drivers approaching a 5-section would be able to permissively take a left, and they may not see a pedestrian crossing the road. With these, if a pedestrian push button is pressed, you would not get a flashing yellow arrow. It will stay red.
Oh, wow.
So drivers are a little put off by that. And then also they don't understand the flashing part.
It's something different, right?
Yes.
And that's always kind of a learning curve for people.
They believe it's, I've had people think that the signal was malfunctioning
Sure.
in the past. And it's different. It's something that showed up one day in 2019 after a weekend, and they were off put by it.
Sure.
But since then, I've had more people wanting these in different places.
Yeah.
So the calls have changed from negative to very positive and request.
That's
so
good.
We work on it. We plan to get grants for other areas, but it takes study time.
Sure. And so I understand that the part of the process of learning that these were the way to go was a ton of research, right?
Yes.
I mean, you guys kind of follow those trends, to follow the national I'm going to forget what it is, manual, MUTCD.
Yes.
Manual of something about traffic.
Yes.
And so that kind of guides us so that we match like everybody else in the country, right? Which is always helpful.
Yes.
So you can drive from state to state and still know what to do. This is great. Ashely, what did we miss? What didn't we talk about?
The studies.
Okay, tell me more.
So the national studies that were, they proved that these flashing yellow arrows
Yeah.
they increase safety by 25% at these intersections.
Wow.
So it's obvious that these do provide some safety for the drivers. And we've worked with our manufacturers of our controllers to find new ways to help. So the delay is something that the manufacturer of the controller brought to us, and we thought it would be good to help prevent people from failure to yield. That's what you get.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are always adjusting things. And I know we often get those questions like, you know, the sensor didn't work or it was on red longer than it should have been. And fact of the matter is there's so much that goes into that. There's the people who press pedestrian buttons. There's the ambulances or first aid vehicles that can go through. So you guys are kind of constantly back there tinkering.
Yes, and these give us a little bit more flexibility. We can use these flashing yellow arrows to allow you to go permissively. So these coordinated corridors get a little bit more time on different areas that need it to keep traffic flowing.
Okay.
And that's our goal.
Got it. Ashely Marriner, Traffic Engineering, thank you so much for this intel. We're excited to see those signal heads all around town, and we got to bring you back for other stuff. You do a lot of traffic engineering fun. We'll have you on again.
All right, thank you.
That does it for this episode of Peak Life. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.